One of the clearest ways to see a person's true character is by observing how they treat people who can do nothing for them. It's easy to be polite, charming, and respectful toward those in positions of power, influence, or wealth, especially when there is something to gain from the interaction. Many people instinctively put on their best behavior when speaking to a boss, a celebrity, or someone they admire because they see an opportunity for personal benefit. But when there is no reward at stake, when the other person holds no influence over them, that is when true character is revealed. Take a moment to notice how someone behaves toward service workers, waiters, cashiers, janitors, or delivery personnel. Do they make eye contact and acknowledge them with gratitude? Or do they act dismissive and entitled? A person who treats a restaurant server with patience and respect, regardless of how busy the establishment is or whether there is a mistake with their order, is likely to be someone with a kind and understanding nature. On the other hand, someone who speaks rudely, refuses to say thank you, or acts as if they are superior to those serving them, exposes an underlying sense of entitlement and lack of empathy. How someone behaves when they have no obligation to be nice is a powerful indicator of their true nature. Beyond service workers, pay attention to how a person treats strangers in everyday life. Do they hold the door open for someone behind them, or do they let it swing shut without a second thought? If they see someone struggling to carry heavy bags or drop something on the ground, do they step in to help? Or do they walk past indifferently? Small gestures often reveal more about a person than their words ever could. A kind-hearted individual doesn't need an incentive to show basic decency. They do it because that is simply who they are. Meanwhile, someone who only behaves kindly when there is an audience or a reward involved likely lacks true compassion. Another important test of character is how a person interacts with those they perceive as having less power or status. Watch how they speak to a receptionist, a security guard, or a hotel cleaner. Are they warm and respectful, treating them as equals, or do they ignore them, act impatiently, or speak condescendingly as if those individuals are beneath them? Many people reveal their worst traits in these seemingly insignificant interactions. Someone who demands respect from their superiors, yet refuses to extend the same courtesy to those in service roles, is not a truly respectable person at all. Genuine kindness is consistent. It doesn't change depending on who is in the room or who is watching. This principle also applies to friendships and relationships. A person who is warm and generous toward those they consider important, but cold and dismissive toward others, is not as kind as they may seem. A true friend or partner will be considered to everyone, regardless of their background, wealth, or social standing. Beware of those who only treat you well because they see you as useful in some way. If you want to understand someone's character fully, observe how they behave when they have nothing to gain. Their treatment of those who have no influence over their lives is often the purest reflection of who they truly are. A person's true character is often revealed in times of stress, adversity, and difficulty. It's easy to be kind, patient, and composed when life is going smoothly, but the real test comes when things don't go as planned. Challenges and hardships have a way of stripping away the mask people wear in their daily lives, exposing their raw, unfiltered nature. The way someone handles failure, disappointment, and pressure says more about them than how they behave when everything is in their favor. Some people remain calm and composed even in the face of great adversity. They approach problems with a level-headed attitude, searching for solutions rather than dwelling on frustration. They don't allow stress to turn them into someone they're not. Instead, they use difficulties as opportunities to grow, learning from mistakes and setbacks rather than letting them define them. These are the people who show resilience, emotional intelligence, and a deep sense of inner strength. Their ability to maintain their values and treat others with kindness, even when they are struggling, reveals a character rooted in patience and integrity. On the other hand, some people become completely different under stress. When faced with obstacles, they lash out, blame others, and allow their frustration to dictate their actions. They may become irritable, impatient, or even cruel to those around them, taking out their anger on innocent people. A person who treats their friends, family, or employees with respect when things are going well, but turns cold and harsh under pressure, shows that their kindness is conditional. They might be polite when it is easy, but their true nature surfaces in difficult times. The inability to control one's temper or emotions when faced with challenges often signals deeper issues with self-awareness and emotional regulation. How a person handles failure also speaks volumes about their character. Do they take responsibility for their mistakes, or do they immediately look for someone else to blame? Do they reflect on what went wrong and use it as a lesson to improve, or do they become defensive and refuse to acknowledge their shortcomings? Some people crumble under the weight of failure, becoming bitter or resentful, while others rise to the challenge and come back stronger. A person who refuses to take accountability and instead directs their frustration outward, blaming circumstances, co-workers, or bad luck, shows an unwillingness to grow. Meanwhile, those who accept failure with grace, learn from it, and move forward demonstrate resilience and wisdom. Adversity doesn't just reveal how people handle themselves, it also shows how they treat those around them. When life becomes difficult, do they withdraw, becoming self-absorbed and unconcerned with the struggles of others? Or do they remain compassionate, understanding that hardship is universal? There are people who, even when they are struggling, still find it within themselves to offer support, a kind word, or a helping hand. Then there are those who, when faced with difficulty, turn inward, forgetting about everyone else's struggles and prioritizing only their own comfort. A person's ability to remain kind, even in the midst of their own battles, speaks volumes about their true nature. In moments of crisis, people's priorities and values become clear. Some abandon their principles to make things easier for themselves, while others stand firm in their beliefs, no matter the cost. Do they cheat, lie, or manipulate when they feel desperate? Or do they hold on to their integrity, even when the stakes are high? A person's true self is often revealed not when they are comfortable, but when they are forced to make difficult choices. Do they cut corners when no one is watching? Do they betray others for personal gain? Or do they remain honest and fair no matter how difficult the situation? Stress, failure, and hardship are the ultimate test of character. They strip away the superficial and expose a person's deepest traits, whether good or bad. It is in these moments that you can truly see who someone is beyond words, appearances, and first impressions. A person's true character is not measured by how they act when others are watching, but by what they do when no one is around. It is easy to put on a performance in public, to say the right things, to behave in a way that gains approval, or to maintain an image of integrity and kindness. But the real test of a person's morals and values lies in their private moments when there is no one to impress, no consequences to fear, and no expectations to meet. How someone behaves when they believe no one will ever find out is one of the clearest indicators of their true nature. Integrity is not about grand gestures or public displays of virtue. It is about consistency in one's actions, regardless of whether there is an audience. Some people appear honest and trustworthy when they are in the company of others, yet they have no problem bending the rules, lying, or cutting corners when they think they won't get caught. They may preach about ethics and fairness, but behave entirely differently in situations where there is no oversight. Someone who preaches honesty but secretly cheats on their taxes, lies to their partner, or manipulates situations for personal gain does not truly possess integrity. Their moral compass is guided not by principle but by convenience. Small everyday choices reveal more about a person than their most publicized actions. For instance, when given too much change at a store, does a person return the extra money, or do they walk away feeling lucky? When borrowing something, do they return it promptly and in good condition, or do they keep it without consideration for the owner? When they find a lost wallet, do they try to return it or take the cash and leave it behind? These seemingly minor situations say a lot about a person's character. Someone who acts with integrity will do the right thing, not because they are afraid of punishment, but because they genuinely believe in fairness and honesty. A strong sense of character also means standing by one's commitments, even when there is no obligation to do so. If someone makes a promise to help a friend move, do they follow through, or do they suddenly become unavailable when the time comes? If they commit to a project or responsibility, do they put in the effort even when no one is checking up on them? A responsible and dependable person will honor their word because they see value in being trustworthy. In contrast, those who only keep their commitments when it is convenient for them, reveal an underlying selfishness. The way people behave in relationships when they think their actions won't be discovered is another telling sign of their character. Do they remain loyal when no one is looking? Or do they betray trust when they believe they won't get caught? A person's true nature isn't found in how they speak about commitment, but in how they act when given the opportunity to be dishonest. Someone who maintains honesty and faithfulness even when temptation is present is someone whose integrity runs deep. Meanwhile, those who cheat, deceive, or act selfishly in secret often show a lack of true moral grounding. A person's kindness can also be measured by what they do when there is no expectation of recognition or reward. Do they help someone in need, even when no one is there to witness their generosity? Do they perform acts of kindness simply because they care? Or do they only do good when there is applause and validation? True generosity does not require an audience. Some of the most genuine and compassionate people do their kindest acts in complete silence, expecting nothing in return. Meanwhile, those who only give when cameras are rolling or when it benefits their reputation are often more concerned with appearances than with actual goodness. Ultimately, a person's true self is found in the choices they make when they believe no one is watching. It is in these moments, when there is no social pressure, no immediate reward, and no fear of consequence, that their real values are revealed. Words and public actions can be carefully crafted, but private behavior is unfiltered and honest. The difference between a person of true integrity and one who merely pretends to have strong character lies in the way they act when the world isn't looking. One of the most revealing aspects of a person's true character is how they speak about others when those people are not around. It is easy to be polite and kind to someone's face, but the way a person talks about their friends, colleagues, or even strangers when they are absent shows their true thoughts and values. Some people maintain a sense of respect even when discussing others in private, while others use those moments as an opportunity to criticize, gossip, or belittle. The way someone speaks about others when there is no risk of confrontation or accountability exposes their genuine level of kindness, integrity, and emotional maturity. People who constantly engage in gossip and negative talk about others often reveal more about themselves than the people they are discussing. When someone habitually criticizes others, points out their flaws, or spreads rumors, it is often a reflection of their own insecurities. They may feel the need to bring others down to make themselves feel superior, or they might enjoy stirring up drama because it gives them a sense of importance. A person who thrives on tearing others down behind their backs is rarely someone who is genuinely confident or secure in themselves. Instead, they rely on negativity to boost their own ego, often at the expense of relationships and trust. On the other hand, a person with strong character will avoid unnecessary negativity and speak about others with respect, whether or not they are present. This does not mean they are never honest or critical, but rather that they choose their words carefully and avoid speaking in a way that is cruel, unfair, or rooted in pettiness. If they have a problem with someone, they prefer to address it directly rather than talking about it behind their back. They understand that words have power and that engaging in constant gossip only fosters negativity and distrust. A key indicator of true character is whether someone can celebrate the successes of others even when they have nothing to gain. Do they speak positively about a colleague's achievements, or do they downplay their success and make bitter remarks? Do they express genuine happiness when a friend reaches a milestone, or do they subtly insert jealousy and resentment into the conversation? Some people struggle to praise others because they view life as a competition. If someone else is succeeding, they feel as if they are falling behind. In contrast, a person with a good heart will be able to recognize and appreciate the achievements of others without feeling threatened. Another important sign to look for is consistency. If someone speaks highly of a person in their presence but immediately criticizes them the moment they leave, it reveals an insincere and two-faced nature. A trustworthy and honest individual does not change their words based on who is listening. They maintain the same level of respect and fairness, regardless of whether the person being discussed is in the room. However, those who frequently talk negatively about others behind their backs often do the same to everyone, including you. If they are willing to gossip and criticize someone else when they are absent, chances are they do the same when you are not around. The way a person talks about others also reflects their ability to handle conflict and disagreements. Some people, when upset with someone, choose to vent their frustrations to anyone who will listen rather than addressing the issue directly. Instead of resolving conflicts in a mature way, they spread negativity and involve others unnecessarily. This not only damages relationships, but also shows an inability to communicate effectively. A person with strong character, on the other hand, knows how to handle conflicts with integrity. If they have an issue with someone, they approach it honestly and constructively instead of resorting to passive-aggressive gossip. Beyond just gossip, the words people choose in private moments reveal their deeper mindset. Some individuals, when in public, present themselves as accepting and open-minded, but when they think no one will hold them accountable, they speak with cruelty, prejudice, or arrogance. This discrepancy between public behavior and private words is a clear sign of dishonesty in character. A truly kind and ethical person will not only speak respectfully when it benefits them, but will uphold their values at all times. Ultimately, the way a person speaks about others when they are not present is one of the clearest windows into their soul. If they spread negativity, gossip, and criticism, they likely carry those traits in other aspects of their life. If they maintain fairness, kindness, and integrity in their words, even when no one is watching, it shows a depth of character that is genuine and unwavering. A person's true character is often revealed by how they handle power, authority, and control over others. Whether it's in a leadership role at work, a position of influence in a social setting, or simply being in a situation where they have more control than another person, their actions in these moments expose who they really are. Power does not change a person, it amplifies what is already within them. Those who are humble, fair, and compassionate will use power responsibly, while those who are selfish, insecure, or egotistical will abuse it for their own benefit. One of the most telling signs of character is whether a person remains respectful and considerate when they hold authority. Some people, when given even a small amount of power, let it go to their heads. They become controlling, demanding, and dismissive of others, seeing themselves as superior simply because they are in charge. A bad leader belittles those beneath them, abuses their influence to serve their own interests, and demands obedience rather than earning respect. They may treat employees unfairly, make unreasonable demands, or expect special treatment simply because of their status. Their actions reveal an insecurity that requires them to assert dominance over others in order to feel important. In contrast, a person with true strength of character understands that power is a responsibility, not a privilege. A good leader does not see themselves as above others, but rather as someone who is in a position to help, guide, and support those around them. They treat everyone with dignity, regardless of their rank or status, and they do not let authority blind them to the value of others. Instead of using their position to control, they use it to uplift, recognizing that real leadership comes from inspiring and empowering people rather than forcing compliance. A leader with integrity listens to others, considers different perspectives, and makes decisions with fairness rather than arrogance. Another revealing aspect of power is how a person behaves when they have the ability to get away with wrongdoing. Do they stay honest even when they could easily manipulate a situation for personal gain? Do they remain fair and ethical even when there is no one to hold them accountable? Some individuals, when given authority, begin to exploit it, taking advantage of others simply because they can. They might manipulate rules, deceive people for their own benefit, or expect preferential treatment without having earned it. The way someone handles unchecked power shows whether they are guided by principles or by self-interest. Power can also be seen in personal relationships, not just in professional or social hierarchies. In friendships, romantic partnerships, and family dynamics, there are often moments where one person holds more influence than the other. This could be emotional power, financial power, or simply the ability to make decisions that affect the other person. How someone handles this imbalance is a direct reflection of their character. Do they use their influence to dominate, control, or manipulate? Or do they treat their partner, friend, or family member with respect and equality? A person who truly cares for others will never use their position to make someone feel small or powerless. Another important sign is how a person reacts when they lose power. Some individuals are gracious in defeat, accepting change with humility and dignity. They understand that status and influence are temporary, and they do not let their ego become dependent on their position. However, others react with resentment, anger, and entitlement when they lose authority. They may lash out, seek revenge, or try to undermine those who take their place. This reaction reveals that their sense of self-worth was tied to control rather than genuine leadership or capability. The way a person handles both the rise and fall of power is a clear indicator of their true nature. Even small moments of power can reveal a person's character. How do they treat people in customer service when they know they have the ability to make demands? How do they behave when someone relies on them for help? Do they act generously or do they take advantage of the situation? When someone has knowledge or skills that others lack, do they share them freely or do they use them as leverage to gain control? True character is shown in these subtle interactions where there is no grand stage, just everyday choices that reflect the essence of who a person truly is. A person's true character is often revealed in how they treat those who can do nothing for them. It is easy to be kind, respectful, and considerate when dealing with people who have power, influence, or status. Many people naturally show politeness to their boss, admiration to a celebrity, or warmth to someone they admire. But the real test of character lies in how they interact with individuals who hold no advantage for them. Those who are weaker, less privileged, or in a lower position. The way someone treats a stranger, a waiter, a janitor, or even an animal speaks volumes about their values, empathy, and true nature. One of the most telling signs of a person's heart is how they behave towards service workers. Many people will smile at their manager but snap at a barista. They will be courteous to someone wealthy but condescending toward a cleaner. When someone believes another person is beneath them, their true attitude comes to the surface. A compassionate individual will treat everyone with respect, regardless of job title or social standing. They understand that no work is less important and that every person deserves dignity. In contrast, a person who is rude, dismissive, or impatient with those in service roles shows arrogance and a lack of basic human decency. How someone treats the vulnerable also reveals their real character. Do they show kindness to the elderly, the homeless, or people with disabilities, or do they act as if these individuals are invisible? Some people, when faced with someone in need, will go out of their way to offer help, even when they have nothing to gain. Others will ignore, mock, or even take advantage of those who are struggling. Their reaction in these moments shows whether they possess genuine empathy or whether their kindness is selective, reserved only for those who can benefit them. Another crucial aspect is how a person treats animals. Unlike humans, animals cannot flatter, impress, or repay kindness in the same way a person can. Someone who is gentle, caring, and patient with animals demonstrates a natural sense of compassion that is not dependent on recognition. Conversely, a person who is cruel, neglectful, or indifferent to animals often lacks deeper empathy. Studies have shown that many individuals who harm others started by mistreating animals, as this reflects an absence of emotional sensitivity. A person's behavior toward creatures that cannot fight back or demand fairness reveals a great deal about their underlying moral compass. How people behave in everyday situations where there is no expectation of reciprocation is also revealing. Do they hold the door open for a stranger, say thank you to a cashier, or acknowledge the presence of those around them? Small acts of kindness, when performed without any obligation, indicate a natural sense of decency. Some individuals, however, only offer politeness when it serves them. They will be respectful to a boss but completely ignore a janitor in the same building. They will be charming to someone they find attractive but dismissive toward those they find unimportant. This conditional kindness is not real kindness at all. It is simply a strategy for personal gain. How someone reacts when faced with an opportunity to help, even when it's inconvenient, is another revealing trait. Imagine walking down the street and seeing someone struggling to carry heavy bags. Does the person stop to help, or do they walk past, pretending not to notice? When a friend is in need, does the person step up to offer assistance, or do they make excuses? A person with a good heart does not wait for an opportunity to benefit before extending kindness. They help because they genuinely care, not because they are expecting anything in return. True character is displayed in moments where there is no incentive to be good. It is in the way a person interacts with those they will likely never see again, how they behave when there is no social reward, and how they treat individuals who have no influence over their life. The people who are consistently kind, regardless of status, wealth, or power, are the ones whose character is built on genuine goodness. Those who treat others based on what they can gain are merely performing kindness, not living it. In the end, a person's true character is not revealed by their words, their public image, or how they behave when they know they are being watched. It is found in the quiet moments, the way they act when there is nothing to gain, no consequences to fear, and no one to impress. True integrity, kindness, and strength of character are not situational. They remain consistent regardless of the audience. Pay close attention to how someone treats people who can do nothing for them, how they speak about others behind their backs, how they behave when no one is watching, and how they handle power and authority. These are the moments that reveal who they truly are. A good heart does not require recognition to do what is right. And in a world where many wear masks, it is in these subtle yet powerful details that the truth about a person is always found.